Okay. Hello and good afternoon, everyone. This is CA Sabah Sheikh, your coordinator for today. And a very warm welcome to all the participants joining us today for the 72nd MSME Pathshala Series 2.0, organized by the Committee on MSME and Startup of ICAI. It's a pleasure to have you all here as we continue our journey of empowering professionals and entrepreneurs with relevant knowledge for MSME ecosystem. Today's session is centered around a very significant and timely topic, which is Section 43BH and the TREADS platform. As we all know, the MSME sector forms the backbone of India's economy, driving employment, innovation, and inclusive growth. However, one of the persistent challenges faced by MSME is timely realization of payment. And the recent amendment, not recent actually, but the last year's amendment under Section 43BH of the Income Tax Act aims to address exactly this issue by linking timely payments to tax deductibility. Today's section will help us decode both regulatory and practical aspect of how business can align with this change, the road and the role of trades platform as well. We are privileged to have with us a team lineup of professionals. Let me start by an introduction to our chairman of Committee on MSME and Startup, which is Mr. Gyanchand Mishra ji. CA Gyanchand Mishra is a distinguished fellow chartered accountant with over 26 years of professional experience. He holds a master's degree in commerce and is also a qualified insolvency professional. Additionally, he is an associate member of ICAI and law graduate. Reflecting on his enduring commitment to his alma mater, his journey of impactful service began at the Ghaziabad branch of CIRC of ICAI, which broadened to include the Central India Regional Council of ICAI. Presently, he uploaded his commitment as a Central Council member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India for the period 2025 to 2029, marking the beginning of his second consecutive term after completing the 2025 tenure successfully. Entrusted with a pivotal role, he is chairman of the Insolvency and Valuation Standards Board, the chairman of the Committee on MSME and Startup, and vice chairman of Peer Review Board. He ardently advances the profession's interest through his dynamic participation as a member across various committees, boards, directorates, and groups. Moreover, he holds the position of director additional at the Indian Institute of Insolvency Professional of ICAI. Throughout his illustration career, and he has exhibited exceptional expertise across the spectrum of accounting with profession in audit and associate. Looking toward the future, C. Gyanchan Mishra envisions a more inclusive, technologically advanced, and global recognized accountancy profession. Now, may I hand over to Mr. Gyanchan Mishra for his words and some of his words. So, over to you, sir. We would like to hear your thoughts about. Yeah. So, you're not audible.
Now audible? Now audible?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you so much, Sabha, moderator of this important webinar. Distinguished speaker, my good friend, C. Raj Chawla, sir, past Central Council member and past vice chairman of this very important committee. And let me tell you, friend, this MSME Yatra, that was the brainchild of Raj Chawla, sir. He is a visionary leader. He took so many initiatives for the committee during his tenure, and he is serving to the profession from different angles, different dimensions. So many programs, seminars, webinars, and of course, a good speaker on the topic. My younger brother, and of course, a young and vibrant face of the council, C. Arpit Kabra, who is, vice chair of this very important committee, and of course, past chairman of Western India Regional Council, very young and dynamic, very thought-provoking, newer and novel ideas, and of course, his contribution to the committee working is immense. Lot of time, his thought process is out of box. He thinks and works in forefront. That is very important. There are so many persons, they have ideas, but they keep the ideas in their mind. But Arpit, being so young and so dynamic, he is very clear about his thought process that the things which is to be done, that to be done. So Arpit, my best wishes to you, and I'm sure about it that you will lead the profession from front in coming time. And of course, Sabha Madam, the team of the Institute, Secretariat, and all respected participants. Good afternoon to one and all. Friends, indeed, it's a great privilege for me that today we have gathered to listen the very important topic which is very close to the heart of the professionals, whether in practice or service, that is 43BH. And the speaker, Raj sir, spoke in the last committee meeting with respect to this precise section, how to handle the situation practically and how to present the 43BH things in the tax audit report and of course to other accounting matters. So I'll not speak much about 43BH because that is a technical subject to be delivered and deliberated by our honorable speaker. Quickly, I would like to share a few of the initiatives that the committee has undertaken this year. Out of the various initiatives the committee has taken, one most important initiative that the committee is undergoing is MSME clinic. Earlier we have done, we have celebrated MSME Day, we have done so many programs, but the out of box idea that we took in this year in the committee, that is MSME clinic. What is MSME clinic? We understand that a country like India, which is a developed country, can take the role of a developed country only with the support of the MSMEs and startups. MSMEs are the true backbone of the economic system of the country. If we see the more about 40% of the export is from MSME. More than 30% of the GDP is contributed by MSME. And MSMEs are not only contributing in GDP and export. MSMEs are protecting our heritage. MSMEs are truly the skill setters. MSMEs are truly paving the path of growth of the country. More than 6.5 crores of MSMEs are working across the country. More than 21 crore employment is through MSME. So if we see, looking all these figures, probably now the time is that we should protect and promote the MSMEs. We should handhold them. We should try that the financial system and financial, availment is easily available to the MSMEs, because finance is one thing that is like blood to the MSME. They should not be anemic. They should get proper blood. The finance flow should be there. And the most important thing, what I used to say in all my deliberations, if someone is non-compliant with respect to the various laws of the land, probably the non-compliance lead to disaster. Compliance is easier than non-compliance. Compliance is less costlier than the non-compliance. So who can handhold the MSMEs? None other than the chartered accountant. We people are well versed with ins and outs of the financial systems. We are well versed with the taxation. We are well versed with the compliance. So we are the people who can truly handhold the MSMEs at large. MSMEs doesn't only need the audit, they need a complete ecosystem handholding. So this is the one thing I wanted to share with you. I'm happy to share the second thing. That is again a big achievement. The Ministry of MSME this year, with so many follow-ups and so after having so many meetings, has authorized the MSME Committee of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India to provide the training program to the MSMEs through their DFOs. And I'm happy to announce that 3 DFOs have sent their request to the committee to provide them faculty and handhold system in the direct training program of the MSMEs. So our thought is in two directions. Number one, that is the brand building. And before that, the thought is hand holding. And if we are able to practically handhold the MSMEs, then we are not only promoting them, but we are making them more religious towards the business, more dedicated compliance, and more dedicated entire ecosystem of the financial management. So, friends, I will not take much time. I understand that we are here to listen to the speaker on very important subject 43BH, but at the same time, we should understand that our role is not only as an auditor, as an accountant. Our role is now business solution provider. If someone comes to us, he comes with one objective that if he will go to a chartered accountant, he will get all the solution of the issues of his business. So now the time has come that MSME experts, I mean chartered accountants, come with the very precise and very balanced approach to protect and promote the MSMEs. I compliment the committee secretary and the entire team. Ranaji is here and the other, committee team is here. I compliment each one of them to organize such a good program. I'll request Raj sir. Sir, your support has been immense to the committee. Will request you to kindly give your time to be faculty in some of the program of India Post. Recently, we are having 3, 4 locations program. You kindly select one of the location, two of the location, and give some of your time. This is our baby. Sure. We have to grow it and make it a rejuvenated young committee, and of course a committee which can directly contribute in the ecosystem of the MSME with the shoulder development of the government of India. So thank you everyone. Now over to Sabha.
Thank you, Gyanji. That was a very insightful, two bits from you, and especially redefining what CAs can do in this field. Now, with that, speaking of young committee, let me introduce the one of the youngest, youngest member of Central Council who we have, and as a vice chairman of this committee.
Sabab, I'll cut through that, because I think Gyanbhai has already mentioned a lot. So
Yeah.
therefore, just take me directly. Thank you very much for being MOC of this program, and apology for cutting you off. I'm sure it's your role, but we'll just move ahead because
Yeah.
43BH is one of the nationwide conversation that we are happening, and today we are having that conversation. More than 500 people are here, and I'm sure we'll have a good time hearing this. But friends, good afternoon, everyone. And one of the important aspects that all of you must know. When Gyanbhai mentioned, I usually refer to him as a visionary chairperson because the kind of work that we're doing in this MSME. See, we cannot do it in isolation. We need each one of you to rise up to this occasion and claim the way you claim that yes, I know GST, I know income tax, I know Companies Act. We can do all of this. You is the same way that you need to first gear up, learn and relearn yourself that yes, we can do this. We can handle MSMEs. We can handle
Yeah, please continue, sir.
I think there's a network issue
when
here.
Raji will be talking about 43BH, the important point will be understand what is the notion, what is the substance behind introducing this section, and how can we actually drive this discussion throughout the country. Now, that is the important discussion that we are going to have. One, we are going to handle. So it's not about compliance, it's about telling them what are the subsidies that are available. So we have coined a very beautiful term, Fathom. So we help MSMEs on these following 6 areas: finance, accounting, technology, human resources. Developing human resources is one of the key ingredients for anyone, and I'm sure We also struggle in that. But if we were to really guide MSMEs, we need to guide MSMEs, we need to first empower ourselves and what is about H, the MS management. Nothing, no one better than us who can come and teach us about management. The way we run our shops, the way we run our offices, the way we run our offices, the way we run our offices. We need a vibrant professional, and the first choice of the government to train their district facilitation officers. Now that is what is the most important part that has happened in this year. We are now, ICI is now, so for all of you who are here, please look at ICI as one of the biggest resource center for yourself. If you need to do anything, if you need to achieve anything, I'm telling you, one of the biggest platforms that could be is ICI. So our webinars, our seminars, are all of these are the best areas where you can go and actually deliver. But let me tell you one very important. Today you see in front of you two world record holder committee in front of you today. We've just bagged the World Book of Records and the Asia Book of Records of handling MSMEs, highest number of MSMEs in one day. So congratulations to you, Chairman Gyanbai, and the entire committee. This record isn't easy. This record came because 183 branches of this country came together to support ICI in its cause of handholding MSMEs. And therefore, I'm telling you this, and mark my words, every branch of ICI today is a is a hot spot of incubation, is a hot spot of handholding, is a hot spot of facilitating the best services to all entrepreneurs. The Startup MSME Committee has made it its mission to make sure that 183 branches across. So if anyone has to walk in, say in a small branch of Raipur or a Ranchi or in South in Coimbatore, in a remote location also, he can get connected through that branch to the entire India network. Tata Sky ने एक line दी थी, इसको लगा डाला live झिंगा लाला. I've just modified it and I offer it to you. प्रश्न पूछ डाला तो live झिंगा लाला. Share your question, do whatever is required and get it done from to this committee. Any doubts that you have on MSMEs, you need to empower yourself. You cannot just become the handholders or capable handhold MSMEs. And therefore, Gyanbai has launched, this committee rather has launched our certificate course on startup and MSMEs. I request all of you, please do that because in the times to come, there are 3, 4 big things that are yet to be announced and they're yet to be coming. Since this is a coming to come, we'll have an entire because most of these entrepreneurs have reached out to us asking, please suggest us who can help us in all of this. So if you are in your branch, know that you are one of those people who will be happy to help these MSMEs. And on every Friday, since the MSME clinics are launched now, on every Friday, make sure MSME entrepreneurs come and you help them out for any services, for any advice or any consultancy or any aspect that they would need. But yes, please gear up with the one is certificate course on startup MSMEs under the subsidies that are happening in different states and the various programs that we do. And of course, one of them is what Chawla sir would be talking about today, 43BH. Should you have any more suggestions, any more things, please feel free to reach out to us on Instagram. So on left hand, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of us, we are all there, me and Gyan Bhai. And believe me, one of the best speakers, one of the best suggestions we've got is through all these platforms. Let's wear MSME t-shirt now. Thank you very much. Over to you, Sabha.
Thank you for your insights, Arpit. Now, let me introduce for the speaker that we've all been waiting for. We have C. Raj Chawla here with us, who's been practicing in Delhi since 1992 in the field of income tax auditing, cost audit, and XBRL. His qualification, the list of qualification he has here is quite long, but I'll just touch upon few of them. He's a chartered accountant, he's a company secretary, he's also a cost accountant. He's a peer reviewer, DISA, LLB, so I think the list is quite long. Sir, socially, he's a central council member of ICAI. He's a member executive committee, member exam committee, member finance committee. So he's been contributing to ICAI since a long time and in a very big role way. So today we are really eager to hear him out and understand more on the topic. So without further ado, I will hand it over to you, sir, for your session. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabha. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you, Sabha. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I am thankful to the MSME and Startup Committee of ICI for giving me this opportunity to interact with all of you. Our Honorable Chairman, MSME Committee, Vice Chairman, Arvind Bhai, our Coordinator, Sabha Madam, and all the participants of this webinar. Today we will discuss section 43BH and the solution to this section 43BH, that is the TRADS platform. Members, as we all know that this section 43BH was introduced in the last year budget only on 1st of February 24, when our Honorable Finance Minister came with the new section that if you are buying any goods or services from any MSME, and here MSME means not only micro, small and medium, only from micro and small. Mediums are not covered under this section 43BH. So if you are buying any goods or services from any MSME, in that case you have to make the payment within 15 days. This is the standard time. But if you have any agreement, in that case, you can extend that time from 15 days to up to 45 days, but not more than 45 days in any condition. And that is not necessary that it is directly 45 days. It may be 30 days, it may be 35 days, but maximum 45 days you can make the delay of the payment for whatever you are buying goods from any manufacturer or services from any service provider. Traders are not covered here. Traders are also allowed to register themselves under this MSME Act, but only for the purpose to take the financial support under MSME Act. If you want to take any loan, etc. from bank or NBFC, only for that purpose, traders were allowed to register themselves. Otherwise, only MSME are allowed to take the benefit of this section 43BH. So on 1st of February 24, this section was inserted in the law. Although this MSME Act came into effect with effect from 2006. So through this section, we will discuss what are the difficulties faced by the buyer, seller and other stakeholders. So let's start with our PPT. So 43BA says that payment to the MSME should be at time, within the time frame prescribed by the MSME Act. So as I told you that this section 43BH was inserted through Finance Act 2024, effective from 1st April 24 and applicable from assessment year 24-25 onwards. And this is an amendment in section 43B of the Income Tax Act. And what this section says, any payment to an MSME must be made within 15 days or maximum 45 days. 45 days is that if you have any agreement, but if you don't have any agreement, in that case, you cannot extend the time from 15 days to 45 days. And here also, I want to mention that agreement need not to be a written agreement. Agreement may be through email, through SMS, through WhatsApp, or other terms and conditions as discussed by the buyer and the seller. So any payment to an MSME must be made within 15 days or maximum 45 days where an agreement exists as prescribed under the MSME Act. Failure to make such payment within these period will result in delayed payment. So the main difficulty comes when it is a delayed payment. And when it is a delayed payment, if it is not paid within the time discussed by the buyer and seller. And if it is a delayed payment and it is outstanding in the financial statement, so in that case, that amount will not be allowed to claim as a deduction in that particular year, in that particular financial year. That will be allowed only in the year of its payment. Suppose you are buying any goods from any manufacturer or service provider, and you are making the payment after your prescribed time, and it is a delayed payment, and also during this period, during this delay of payment, there is a financial closing. Suppose 31st March is there and that amount is outstanding in the balance sheet. In that case, that amount which is pending will not be allowed to claim in your profit and loss account. That only will be allowed only in the year in which it is paid. But if you have made the payment within the financial year, although it is a delayed payment, suppose you have purchased the goods or services in the month of April, May, June, July, but you have made the payment before or up to 31st of March, before closing of the financial year, and that amount is not outstanding in the balance sheet. In that case, that will not be disallowed in that year, because that is made, payment is made within the same financial year. But because this is a delayed payment, then you have to make the provision for the interest on this delayed payment. And members, you will be surprised to note that if there is a delay in the payment, in that case you have to make the provision of interest at a rate of 3 times the bank repo rate. As we all know, these days bank repo rate is 5.5%, means thereby you have to make the provision for interest at a rate of 16.5% per annum. And not only that, this interest to be calculated on monthly compounded basis. चक्रवर्ती ब्याज लगाना होगा इसके ऊपर. First, the interest on delayed payment is 3 times the bank repo rate. The second is that this interest to be calculated on monthly compounded basis. And the third and most important, this interest paid to MSME on delayed payment is not an allowable expenditure under Income Tax Act. So this is the major hurdle. That's why the buyers were insisting the seller that please cancel your registration under this MSME Act, otherwise we will not buy goods or services from you. Because they were facing these 3 problems. As I told you, if this is a delayed payment, that will not be allowed to claim as a deduction in that financial year if it is outstanding as on 31st of March. Second thing, if this is a delayed payment, you have to make the provision of interest at a rate of 3 times the bank repo rate. Third, you have to calculate the interest on monthly compounded basis. And the fourth, this interest paid to MSME on delayed payment is not an allowable expenditure under Income Tax Act. So these were the 4 main problems that were facing by the buyers. And members, we should think that why government came with this section, this harsh provision, which is harsh for the buyers. Because government wants that MSME who is working should get the payment within a specified time or stipulated time or in a reasonable time. Because they are the small vendors. They were not getting the time in payment in the due time. That's why their turnover is not high. And because, as we all know, that this MSME is contributing more than 50% in our GDP. They are generating highest employment in our country. And because India wants that they should come in the third list of this international We are fourth as on today, and we want to become the third largest economy of the world. How we will become the third largest economy if we are not supporting MSME? As we all know that Ministry of MSME is supporting our MSMEs through giving the financial facility also. Any MSME can take loan up to 10 crore without any collateral security. This is applicable with effect from 1st of April 2025. Earlier, this was 5 crore. This is called CGTMSC scheme, Credit Guarantee Scheme by the Government of India. Without any collateral secure, loan can be taken by the MSME from any bank or NBFC. Or there is a new amendment with this Finance Bill 2025 that if you are exporter, in that case you can avail loan up to 20 crore without any collateral security. So government want to support MSME for taking, either they can take the loan or they should get their payment within the reasonable time. This was the reason that this section 43BH came into effect last year. So as I told you that government want that MSME should get the payment within reasonable time. And if they are getting that payment within reasonable time, definitely their turnover will be high. And if their turnover is high, our India GDP will be high. And if our Indian GDP is high, in that case, we will definitely become very soon the third largest economy of the world. So this was the intention of the law to introduce this section 43BH in last financial budget. As I already discussed with you that this section 15 of MSME Act says that maximum time allowed for payment. This is the scenario that if you have no written agreement, in that case 15 days from acceptance or deemed acceptance of goods or services, you have to make the payment to the MSME if you don't have any agreement. But if you have agreement, in that case payment must be made within maximum 45 days or as per the agreement. This is not necessary that 45 days is standard time. No, maximum 45 days. Up to 45 days, you can make the payment. So, deemed acceptance means when goods services are not rejected within 15 days of delivery. This support is also given by the Act to the buyer that if you feel that there is some problem in the goods which you are buying or services, in that case you can make objection on that goods or services. You can make rejection, and the time calculation will be from that date on the day which this rejection or objection has been removed. You cannot calculate the 15 days from the date of delivery. 15 days of the delivery or services will be calculated on the day when you are getting the things in a proper way. But buyer have to make the objection within 15 days. You can't say after 30 days that there was some problem in your goods. If you want to reject the goods, in that case you have to make the rejection within 15 days. After 15 days, you cannot make the rejections. Now, with the example, we will discuss case 1, when we will say that paid within time. Suppose I have purchased the goods of rupees 5 lakh and the date of supply is 1st of February 25 and the agreement allows 45 days. If the payment is made on 10th of March, means within 45 days, in that case, this amount, this expenditure debited in my P&L account will be allowed because I have made the payment within 45 days, within the agreed time. So expenses will be allowed in the financial year 24-25 same year. I hope everyone is clear about this. Members, if you have any query, then you can put your query in the chat box. We will take up all the queries after this deliberation. Now, case 2, when it will be called delayed payment. Suppose payment is made on 20th of March 25. That is after 45 days. In that case, the expenditure will be allowed because this payment is made within the same financial year. As I discussed earlier, 31st March is not there. So this expenditure will be allowed, but it will be called delayed payment. And if it is a delayed payment, as I told you, we have to make the provision for interest. So now the case 3, when the payment is totally delayed. Payment made on 5th of April 25 after 45 days and after the financial year. So this will be disallowed in the financial year 24-25. And it will be allowed in the financial year 25-26 only, the year of payment. It is not necessary that it will be allowed in the next succeeding year. It will be allowed only in the year in which it is paid. So in this case, as this payment is made on 5th of April 25, so it will be allowed in the financial year 25-26. But please keep in your mind that the buyer has to make the provision for interest in this case. And as I told you, 3 times the bank rate on monthly compounded basis and not allowable as a expenditure. So this is the example that how this disallowance under section 43 BH is there. Now we will discuss who is MSME, because we must know. Members, I want to mention here that with effect from 1st April 25, means in this budget, in this 21st of February 25 budget, our Honorable Finance Minister has increased the parameter of this MSME definition, because MSME definitions are covered in 2 parameters, that is investment in plant and machinery, and another one is the turnover. So they have 2.5 times increased the investment in plant and machinery, and they have increased turnover 2 times. So keep in mind, as an auditor, if you are auditing any company and you have to check this delayed payment of this 43BH, in that case, you should consider that limit in the last financial year applicable to the company. Because we are auditing the financial statement of any client for the financial year 24-25. And these new limits are applicable with effect from 1st April 25. Means thereby, when we will be auditing the financial statement of for financial year 25-26, only then this new limits will be applicable. So let's discuss that. As I told you, supplier must be micro or small enterprises. In MSME, we have 3 categories: micro, small, and medium enterprises. But medium enterprises are not given the benefit of this disallowance payment. So here only micro and small enterprises will be covered. Second, medium enterprises are not covered under this section. Third, trader, either they are wholesaler or retailer, are excluded as per MSME classification. As I told you earlier, that traders were allowed in the year 21 only for the purpose of taking the bank facility allowed in this MSME Act. Traders are not allowed to take the benefit of this MSME scheme of this section 43BH. And the fourth one, as I told you, please ensure before audit that the vendor's classification under MSME category is verified as per the applicable investment and turnover limit prescribed under MSME Act of that financial year. Now we will discuss what are the limits for this micro enterprises. Investment in plant and machinery, it is up to 1 crore and turnover is up to 5 crore. Both the condition must be fulfilled. In that case, it will be called micro enterprises. But in this new budget and this new applicability with effect from 1st of April 25, this investment in plant and machinery is now 2.5 crore and the turnover is 10 crore. But because we are auditing the accounts of the last financial year, then we have to see this limit 1 crore and 5 crore. 1 crore investment in plant and machinery and turnover up to 5 crore. When we will audit next year, at that time, for this classification, we will see this investment as 2.5 crore and turnover 10 crore. This is the definition of micro enterprises under MSME Act. Now the small category is when the investment in plant and machinery is up to 10 crore and turnover is up to 50 crore. This was the limits up to 31st of March 25. But now with effect from 1st of April 25, this investment has increased 2.5 times, means thereby from 10 crore to 25 crore. And this turnover has been doubled 50 crore to 100 crore. So we have to see this categorization when we are auditing the accounts of any company, where we want to check in which category this MSME came. The third and last is the medium enterprises. Medium enterprises definition up to 31st March 25, investment in plant and machinery is up to 50 crore and turnover is 250 crore. But with effect from 1st of April 25, this investment in plant and machinery is now 125 crore and the turnover is 500 crore. So members, this is the criteria that how we will determine which is MSME and in which category it is coming. So through this, we can check out the status of the MSME. Now, the most important thing, interest under section 16 and 17 of the MSMED Act. This interest says, if payment is delayed, as I told you, that if you are buying any goods or services from any MSME, in that case, you have to make the payment within 15 days. But if you have any agreement, in that case, that payment can be extended up to 45 days. And in no any condition, you can delay the payment beyond 45 days. But yes, there is one exception. If you have rejected the goods or services within 15 days, in that case, that period can be extended. That period of the payment will be calculated from the date on which this rejection is removed. So please take care that this interest is applicable when there is a delay in the payment. Second thing, buyer is liable to pay interest at a rate of 3 times the bank repo rate. And as we all know that in this today time, this bank repo rate is 5.5%. Means thereby we have to make the provision of interest at a rate of 16.5%. The third one, the interest paid on delayed payment to MSME is not an allowable deduction under Income Tax Act. It will be treated as a penalty paid to the Government of India. Although the buyer is making the payment of interest for their business purpose. But because this interest is paid to the MSME on delayed payment, government has restricted
this interest expenditure to be claimed as a deduction under Income Tax Act. Fourth one, MSME delayed payment is applicable to micro and small enterprises, but not to the medium enterprises. But for the purpose of interest provision, it is applicable to all micro and small and medium enterprises. Members, please take care that this disallowance of payment is applicable only to the micro and small enterprises. But for the purpose of calculation of this interest, interest is payable to all the micro, small and medium enterprises. This is not restricted up to micro and small enterprises. This interest applicability is to medium enterprises also. So please take care. For the disallowance of expenditure, only micro and small enterprises are eligible. But for the purpose of this interest, micro, small and medium enterprises, all the three are allowed to claim the interest on their delayed payment. Last one, MSME delayed payment and provision for interest is not applicable to trader registered under MSME Act. As I already mentioned you that traders are not allowed to take the benefit of this MSME delayed payment 43BH benefit. That's why traders are not allowed to take the benefit of this delayed payment interest provisions. So next, audit and reporting under Income Tax Act and Companies Act. Respected members, as we are the auditor of any company, and under two acts, under Income Tax Act and under Companies Act, there is a responsibility of the auditor to report in their audit report about this MSME delayed payment and provision for interest. So please take care, because this due date for tax audit has been extended up to 10th of November. So if some audit reports are pending, please take care while filling the clause 22 of the Form 3CD. We have to report this disallowance under section 43BH in clause 22. And what it says, what auditor should take care, that he should check whether supplier's MSME status, what is the MSME status? Whether he is a micro, small and medium, because this disallowance is applicable only for the micro and small. And members, one thing more I want to mention to all of you, this certificate, this Udyam registration certificate is changing year by year, because there may be chances at the time of registration, when I am registering myself under MSME Act, my turnover and investment in plant and machinery was something else. But in the next year or after some time, maybe possible my turnover has increased, my investment in plant and machinery has increased. In that case, my category will be changed. And under this MSME Act, if we will go their website and we want to check the status, because MSME Act is taking the data from income tax website as well as from the GST website. Through GST website, they will update the turnover of the MSME, and through income tax website, they will update the investment in plant and machinery. So you should not only see the certificate at the time of registration, but also you should take care that what is the status as on in that financial year for which you are auditing the accounts of the assessee. Another, auditor should check the MSME Udyam certificate. Also, auditor should take the management representation letter from the assessee mentioning the detail of MSME creditor. When you are starting the audit of any company, first of all, take the balance sheet of that company,
And in the balance sheet, when you see that what are the outstanding creditors in that balance sheet, first of all, you should take a certificate from the assessee that kindly let me know who are registered MSME in this your list of creditors. First of all, we should take the certificate from the assessee, because it is the duty of the assessee to make the KYC of the vendors, KYC of the creditors. So first you take the MRL from the assessee. Second, you should verify from the outstanding creditors regarding their status whether they are registered as micro and small enterprises under MSME Act. You should request your assessee to send an email to all the creditors outstanding in the balance sheet, mentioning that this much of your amount is outstanding in my books of account as on 31st March 25. Kindly let me know whether you are a registered MSME or not. If yes, kindly provide me the copy of your registration certificate. And also mention that if your reply is not received within a stipulated time, which may be 10 days, 5 days, 7 days, whatever are suitable to you, in that case, it will be assumed that you are not MSME. Because being an auditor, it is your duty to reconfirm, to re-verify whether the creditor mentioned in the balance sheet are MSME or not. So this is the second criteria. First, I told you, should take the MRL from the assessee. Second, should verify through email or registered post to all the creditors. And third, guide your audit team while auditing the books of account, vouchers, bills of the assessee. Check whether any MSME registration number is written on the bill or not. If suppose MSME registration number is written on the bill and party assessee is not telling us that this party is registered under MSME Act, then it is our duty to check all the bills and voucher of the parties during our audit, whether they are registered under MSME or not. If suppose MSME registration number is written on the bill, but party in their MRL, they are not mentioning the name of that party, then it is our duty also to check or verify whether this party is registered under MSME or not. Because we should not be satisfied on the letter given by the management, on the MRL only. We should ourselves take some initiative, some step to verify who creditors are registered on MSME and who are not. And the last one, that outstanding dues of earlier year are not covered, because I told you that in this section 43BH, whatever we are buying goods or services during the year, which we are debiting in our P&L account and not making the payment to the seller, only this disallowance is there. If suppose outstanding earlier payments are there, they are not covered under this section 43BH. Next, please. Now, this is the solution, because we all know that on 1st of February 24, when our honorable finance minister came with this new section, this 43BH, there was huge cloud from the public or buyers that this is a very harsh section through this MSME, because many buyers requested or advised their seller, if you want to sell us your goods or services to us, then please cancel your registration, otherwise we will not buy goods or services from you, because disallowance and interest provision are there. So because we all know that during the year 2024, our Lok Sabha elections were there, and during election time, our Honorable Finance Minister, even at the platform of our ICAI, given a statement that they will give some relief for this section 43BH. And what was the relief? This relief is given through this trade platform. So this is the solution of this section 43BH provisions. So let's discuss this solution also, that how we can escape our clients from this section 43BH disallowance. So TRADS is a online electronic platform regulated by the Reserve Bank of India that facilitate financial and discounting of trade receivable, invoice and bill of micro, small and medium enterprises through multiple financier, that is banks and NBFC. This is a platform through which the buyer and seller can get this bill discounts. As we all know that since long there is a facility from the banker that you can get your bill discounted from your banker. But that takes big time. That takes 15 days, 20 days, 1 month. But through this platform, because this is a electronic platform, through this platform, you get the payment within 24 hours. I will discuss, I will tell you the step-by-step things which are make the payment very easy. So as per the second union budget in July 2024, the government has reduced the turnover threshold of mandatory onboarding on the TRADS platform. TRADS means Trade Receivable Discounting System platform, from rupees 500 crore to 250 crore. Before second budget, which was pronounced in July 24, the limit was 500 crore. Means thereby, if any assessee is having the turnover of 500 crore and above, they were required mandatorily to register themselves under this trade platform. But in this budget, in the second budget, which was pronounced in July 24, this limit of registration, mandatory limit, was decreased from 500 crore to 250 crore. In addition, voluntary registration is permitted for companies having a turnover below 250 crore, enabling wider participation and promoting timely payment to MSME. So this is all TRAD platform. Now I will tell you that what are the platform, what are the benefits through this platform available to the MSME. So through this platform, the limit, mandatory limit, has decreased from 500 crore to 250 crore in the second budget of 24. And also through this platform, it is not necessary that if your turnover is 250 crore and above, only then you can register. You can voluntarily register at this platform to get the benefit of this platform. So now, next. These are the link with the TRAD platform. Purpose is to help the MSME get early payment by discounting their invoice through bank NBFC on a digital platform like RXIL, M1 Exchange, Invoice Mart, and Trade by C2FO India. These are the 4 platforms available at this TRADS. When a buyer accepts an invoice on TRADS, the MSME get immediate fund within 24 hours. Although I know some people who are getting the payment within 4 or 5 hours. This is the maximum time that through trade platform you will get the payment within 24 hours. And the buyer pays later to the financier, thereby ensuring compliance with section 43BH, timeliness and healthy MSME cash flow. Here I want to mention, because my seller is getting their payment through trade platform. So now my creditor is not my seller. Now my creditor is banker or NBFC through which this bill discounting has taken place. So the problem of this disallowance was only when this outstanding payment belonged to the MSME, and bank and NBFCs are not NBFC. RBI bank and NBFCs are not MSME. So this disallowance provision will not be applicable here. So I am escaped from this disallowance of payment. Here, I want to mention here that the interest for the period up to which this buyer and seller agreement is there is to be given by the seller. If suppose I am selling the goods for 45 days payment terms and I am getting the payment on the very next day of supplying the goods, in that case up to 45 days payment of interest will be borne by the seller, because otherwise seller was to get the payment after 45 days. He is getting the payment within a day. In that case, the interest for that period, for that credit period, will be borne by the seller. And here this trade platform is giving the facility of financing to the buyer up to 6 months. So friends, here the total credit timeline is 7.5 months, because 45 days, 1.5 month credit is given to the seller and 6 month credit is given to the buyer. So total 7.5 month credit can be availed through this trade platform. And the benefit of this will be that there will not be disallowance of payment, there will not be the interest payment at a 3 time. Here the interest you on MSME, you have to make on monthly compounded interest. Here monthly compounded interest is not there. And on MSME part, interest paid to MSME is not an allowable expenditure. Here interest paid to the banker or NBFC is a allowable expenditure under Income Tax Act. So these are the benefit of the trade platform. So we will discuss one by one. So now we will discuss that how this trades works step by step. First of all, seller will upload the invoice on the trade platform. Here first step is invoice upload. And what is the process? MSME seller upload invoice raised on a large buyer, either they are corporate or PSU, and involved party is the seller. And in second step, buyer will accept, because online uploading of invoice is there. Buyer will accept that yes, I have purchased these goods from this party and I will make the payment within 45 days. So buyer verifies and accept the invoice on the trade platform, and here involved party is the buyer. Third, bid by the financer. When buyer has accepted the payment, then this bid will come on the platform. Here multiple bank and NBFC place bid to discount the accepted invoice. I will get the interest on a very competitive rate. And here involved party are the financier, because that is a platform. When buyer has accepted that yes, I will make the payment, and he is registered under this platform, in that case he will get the bidding of the different banks and NBFC that we will provide at this rate of interest to the buyer. And the fourth one, MSME gets funds. MSME receives the discounting amount, invoice value minus discount immediately. And here MSME and financiers are involved. And the last one, buyer repayment. On the due date, the buyer pays the full amount to the financier. And here the involved parties are the buyer and the financier. So through this process, we can get the bill discounting through this trade platform. Next, please. These are the major trade platform approved by the RBI. The first is the Invoice Mart. Invoice Mart is promoted by the Axis Bank and M Junction. The second one is RXIL, Receivable Exchange of India Limited. And this is promoted by SIDBI and National Stock Exchange of India. Third one is M1 Exchange. And this is promoted by the Mind Solution. And the fourth one is trades by C2FO India, and this is C2FO Technologies, and all are regulated by RBI and operate under Payment and Settlement System Act 2007. So these are the four platforms through which you can get your bill discounted. And here there is a win-win situation for all the three stakeholders. Buyers, they are getting 7.5 month credit, because 1.5 month credit is given to the seller and 6 month credit is given to the buyer at a competitive rate. And the benefit is that their expenses is not disallowed due to this delayed payment. They need not to pay 3 times the bank rate. They need not to pay monthly compounding interest. They are not disallowed their interest paid to MSME here. Whatever interest you are paying to this platform is 100% allowable expenditure under Income Tax Act. Whereas if we are making the interest payment to MSME on this delayed payment, that is not allowable expenditure. But here, if we are making the interest payment to this trade platform, that is a allowable expenditure under Income Tax Act. And the beneficiary banker, because banker are getting the business. So all are happy, buyer, seller and banker. Next, document and KYC required. Udyam registration certificate for MSME verification, PAN, GST and bank account detail, buyer registration and authorization, buyer must be registered, and agreement between buyer and seller if applicable, if there is a payment terms more than 15 days. So this is the document and KYC. And benefit of trades. Here for MSME, benefit, they are getting the immediate payment. As I told you, if they are going at trade platform, they are getting the payment within 24 hours. Liquidity increasing to the MSME and turnover is increasing. Second, no collateral security, because I have already sold my goods to the buyer and buyer is registered. So no collateral security required from my side to the trade platform, because financing is based on the buyer's credit rating, not on my credit. Only the acceptance of bill by the buyer is more than sufficient. Now the liability is on the buyer. Third one, lower financial cost than transitional factoring or bank loan, because I told you that this trade platform is a competitive platform where various banks and NBFCs are registered. So bidding is there. So competitive rate of interest you will get. And this will improve my cash flow and working capital of the management. So these are the benefits to the MSME on this trade platform. Now, for the buyers, what are the benefits? It ensures compliance with section 43BH, that is the timely MSME payment. Because if my seller is going to take the bill discounting through this trade platform, so now liability does not exist for this MSME. Liability exists for the bank or NBFC. So my disallowance under section 43BH will not be there. So I need not to worry about for this section 43BH. Second one, save from disallowance of payment under section 43BH by ensuring timely payment to MSME. Next, save from 3 times interest liability under section 16 of MSME Act for delayed payment, and save from compounding of interest and other penal compliances by adhering to prescribed timelines. And the last, timely payment safeguard the assessee from disallowance of interest under Income Tax Act. If suppose I am making the payment of interest to MSME on delayed payment, that is not an allowable expenditure. But if I am making the payment of interest to trade platform for discounting of this MSME bill, that is an allowable expenditure under Income Tax Act. So these are the benefit for buyer. And now for financier, low risk asset class, because since buyers are large corporate PSUs who are already registered under this platform, so low risk is there, and transparent auction and credit based financial opportunity, because this is all transparent, because this is a platform. So these are the two benefits for the financiers also at this platform. Now the relevance with section 43BH. We have categorized in 3. One is aspect, second is section 43BH, and third is trade support. Objective, enforce timely payment to MSME, and trade support is enable early payment to discounting. Time limit under section 43BH is 15 to 45 days as per MSME Act, and trade platform allows immediate MSME funding even if buyer pays later. Compliance benefit, avoid disallowance of expenses, and trade support is that payment through trades ensures compliances, and record keeping require proof of payment, and this trade platform automated digitally verified transaction on platform. So trades act as a compliance tool to meet the payment timeliness under section 43BH while maintaining buyer liquidity. So through this platform, our MSMEs are getting payment in time, and that's why their turnover are increasing day by day. As we all know, now the number of registration under this MSME registration platform has increased more than 7 crore, although still around 3 crore registration are to be done, because in India around 10 crore MSMEs are working and only 70%, 7 crore MSMEs are registered as on today. So still scope is there for more registrations. So this is all about this MSME 43BH and this trade platform. So now I request our moderator, Sabha Madam, please take the queries of the member. So we will discuss the query of the member one by one. Over to Sabha.
Sure, sir. I'll just read out the queries for you. So we have the first query here, which is someone has asked that which businesses or SSCs are covered under section 43BH. I think you have already covered this, but maybe we can just revisit it.
Yeah. Give me some time, because I will open the PPT, so it will be more easy to understand.
Awesome.
As I told earlier, that through this platform, 2 things are very important. One is disallowance of expenditure, and another one is the interest. For disallowance of expenditure, only micro and small category people are covered. And we should take care that as on today, the limit is different. And while we are auditing the financial of the assessee for last year, financial year 24-25, the limit was different. So we should take care that for which year we are auditing the accounts of the assessee. So suppose we are auditing as on today. So in that case, for the last financial year, so we should take that for micro category, investment in plant and machinery is 1 crore and turnover is 5 crore. So both the condition must be fulfilled. If suppose turnover is more than 5 crore, in that case, that will go to the next category, that is the small. So micro is for last financial year 1 crore and 5 crore. 1 crore in plant and machinery and up to 5 crore is the turnover. This is the category for micro, and for small it is 10 crore and 50 crore, and for medium it is 50 crore and 250 crore. But with effect from 1st of April 25, means thereby for the next financial year, this financial year, for which the audit will be done in the next financial year, the limit is increased 2.5 times in the investment and plant and machinery and 2 times of the turnover. This was changed during the financial budget of 25. So applicable with effect from 1st April 25. So I hope this will satisfy the question of our participant.
Yes, sir. Then the next
Please.
question is there's a purchase. Yeah, the next question is, does the section 43BH impact GST input credit?
Yes, you are right. Here in this MSME Act, we are talking about delayed of payment. But suppose GST payment is outstanding, GST is also outstanding, but naturally, so that will also be disallowed.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah,
so
please.
in that case, we will take the time limit of 6 months, which is there in
Yes,
GST.
yes.
Right? Yeah, we
Yeah,
will be
that is the
taking.
separate act. They will
Yeah.
take care in the GST Act.
Okay. Okay. Then there's a query with some figures that if suppose there's a purchase made on 30th March 2025 and the payment is made on 12th May 2025, okay, then would it be allowed since the period is below 45 days?
Yes, if you are auditing the accounts after this 12th of May, which you are mentioning here, because audit is always done after the financial year,
Yeah.
and as a auditor, it is your duty under Income Tax Act and Companies Act. It is the duty of the auditor to mention in their audit report, as under Income Tax Act, Form 3CD, Clause 22, you have to mention that whether there is a delay in payment. Suppose you are buying the goods as on 31st of March. So 45 days time is the up to, you can say up to 14th of May. And you are making the payment before 14th of May. In that case, there will not be disallowance of expenditure because payment is made within the prescribed time. Disallowance is only when it is outstanding in the balance sheet as well as there is a delay in the payment. Both the conditions should be there. It is outstanding in the balance sheet as well as there is a delay in the payment. Because here it is outstanding, yes, but there is no delay. Payment is made within the prescribed time or within the agreed time. In that case, it is not a delayed payment. And when it is not a delayed payment, it will be a allowable expenditure in the year in which it is made. So, this expenditure will be allowed in the financial year 24-25 itself.
Okay, understood. Now the next one. Yeah. In MSME registration certificate, generally the data which is mentioned is pertaining to two earlier year. So how can we ascertain the turnover as on 31st March 2025?
Yeah,
This is like question.
I already mentioned this thing because when you are registering yourself at the time of registration under this MSME Act, when you are getting this Udyam certificate, your turnover is different. But in the coming year, your turnover or investment in plant and machinery may be different. So MSME ministry is fetching the data from GST website because at the time of registration you are mentioning your GST number and PAN number. And this MSME ministry is taking your data from income tax website as well as GST websites. So they are updating every time, every financial year they are updating themselves.
Okay.
So you should not only take care this registration certificate, but also you should check the what is the real status as on that date, because MSMEs are giving real time data on their website.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Understood. Now let's move on to the next one. So this is a good one. Someone has asked that what is the maximum allowed timeline if there is a written agreement? Okay. So for example, in the agreement itself, there's a credit period of 60 days, let's say. So how does that work?
I told that in no condition this delay of payment, this credit time of payment can increase 45 days. Even you have a registered agreement before the honorable magistrate or court, but in no condition this can be delayed more than 45 days. Yes, there is a one exception that if you have rejected the goods or services within 15 days, in that case that payment can be delayed. But in no condition you can escape from the interest. Many parties says that my seller is telling that I am not interested to take the interest, but you have to make the interest provision. And I want to mention here that this MSME Act supersedes all the acts of India. Even this time act, which is applicable, that after 3 years you cannot claim your payment, is not applicable to MSME Act.
Okay.
So in no condition this 45 days or your agreed time can be delayed. Maximum is the 45 days.
Okay, sir. Understood. Okay. Now, moving to the next question, but I think the question is wrong. Someone has written that what if the payment made after filing the return within the timeline? I think this is not a possible situation, right? Because yeah, because your return will be filed much later than the 45 days from the
Yeah.
date of, yeah. But we can say that, we can perhaps say that what if the payment, again, tax audit is always after that date. Okay.
Yes,
Then
yes,
the
naturally.
next one, yeah. How does the trust receivable platform help SME and buyers comply with timely payment? I think you have really covered this in detail. Okay. Then the next one is how should ERP system tag MSME vendors to track payment deadline? I think this has to
It
be set
is,
up on the master data. Yeah.
yeah, naturally, because they all have this KYC from the vendors, and from there they can take the data. Even one thing also I want to mention here, that as per the Companies Act, there is
Yeah.
a requirement from the buyer that you have to report half yearly to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs within a month.
Correct.
For
Understood.
30th September outstanding, you have to report in MSME Form 1 up to 31st of October. And for 31st of March, you have to report within a month, yani ke up to 30th of April. So being an auditor, I should take the data from the party also.
Hmm.
Kindly provide me the copy of your MCA Form 1.
Okay.
So from there, they can get the list of MSME and outstanding payment.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
sir. Let's move on to the next one. Again, I think sir has covered this very well, but again, I'll just read it out. What role do bank play in Fed's link settlement and compliance monitoring? Yeah. Okay. Um,
Please,
yeah.
some distance.
Sorry, my bad. There's some construction going on. But
Okay.
I'll move on to the next one. Yeah. How can
Yeah.
companies document MSME status changes and ensure year-end accuracy? So I think what they mean to say is like, what if a company becomes from small to medium, you know, during the year? So how do we ensure that?
I Yeah, I already mentioned that every year this MSME is fetching the data from income tax website as well as from the GST website, and they are changing there, and we should take care that this belongs to that financial year only.
Right. Right.
So that we have to see.
Okay. Then the next one, which authorities can demand MSME payment compliance or audit or reporting?
Income tax act through this Form 3CD
Yeah.
and Companies Act in our this audit report. We have to mention whether there is delay in the payment or not. It is the duty of the auditor to mention.
Okay. How should business handle MSME declaration collected at the year end? I think diligently through regular follow up, right?
Yeah. Or as I told that being an auditor, when I'm starting the audit of any company, first of all, I should take the financial from the my SSE. Second, I should take the MRL from my SSE. Third, I should send an email through SSE to all the parties, keeping myself in CC that this much of your amount is outstanding in my books of account. Kindly let me know whether you are a registered MSME or not, under which category.
Yeah.
Then please provide me the copy of your registration certificate, and also mention that if your reply is not received within 7 days or 10 days, whatever is suitable to you, it will be assumed that you are not MSME. Being your auditor, it is my duty to re-verify.
Yeah. Understood. Uh, then the next one, if a vendor falsely claims MSME status and company disallows expenses, what remedy exists?
See, how he can claim
By I think
falsely?
yeah, what they mean is like they would have
Because
given out older
he
data.
has to provide the registration certificate, and on the basis of that registration certificate we can verify on the website of the MSME.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
He cannot claim.
Okay. Then the next one, how should foreign companies operating in India comply with this provision? I think same, right?
Same.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I think that's just all the queries from our from our viewers side. But I do have a couple of queries, sir, if I may.
Please.
Yeah. So one, sir, I think there was a change in the one of the clause in section 43BH. I think till last year, what the audit report was asking was basically what is the MSME disallowed or not paid amount not paid at the year end. It was coming in the similar fashion how 43B comes. The 43BH was also coming in the similar fashion that whatever is supposed to be disallowed, we had to give. I think the wording this time reads like, what is the total payment made to MSME
Yes.
this year? Yeah. So,
You are right. Same thing is happened in the Companies Act also.
correct.
When you are filing your ROC, your MCA Form 1, earlier the requirement was only to report the delayed payment to MSME. But now
Correct.
every payment, whether you have made the payment within a time or delayed payment, all the MSME payment and their transactions you have to report. In the same way, they have mentioned here.
Yes, yes. So I think the challenge here this time was most of the clients would have gone back like even we are doing the same thing. They have the outstanding data but not this one. So yeah, of course we are putting the clause there. Maybe from next year onwards we will ask them to keep a track. Other thing,
Yes.
so yeah, other thing. Now again, while as you mentioned that the payments to MSME, whenever this was delayed, okay, the provision has to be allowed, right? The provision for interest has to be allowed. And if it is not, again, not paid. So what happens in my PNL, I provide for an expense, but then I disallow it because it's not paid, right? Under 30, section 36. So I think a lot of companies are just avoiding it, or just putting a remark that we do not have. So what is your view on that? Because eventually
No,
I'm just
no.
allowing it, and yeah.
Yeah. As I told you that in no condition, in
Yeah.
no case, you have to provide the interest on delayed payment to MSME, and
Okay.
that is not a allowable expenditure, as we all know.
Yeah.
And even I add to your query whether we should deduct TDS on the provision of interest paid provided for MSME. Here, in my opinion, interest TDS need not to be provided because two important things are there. First, if I am not providing the TDS on interest, then interest will be disallowed because if TDS is not deducted, this is already disallowable expenditure. Second
Yeah.
thing, interest is only given when I have taken any loan.
Yeah.
Here I have not taken any loan. So I need not to provide TDS on interest provided on delayed payment to MSME. And as per your query, many parties are not providing in their books of account this provision for interest on delayed payment.
Right.
But as per law, they are required under section 16 and 17 whether they have agreement with the seller that I am not interested to charge any interest on delayed payment, even though it is the duty of the assessee to mention the provide the interest there in their financials, and it is the duty of the auditor also to
Yeah.
mention whether provision for interest there is there in the financial or not.
Correct.
Report it.
Okay. So, what is your general overview about the whole this thing being stringent? Like, is it not becoming like more difficult for the MSMI to get business? Because I had one client wherein especially ROs form. Now, actually, for a smaller company, when we are giving reporting details to all the payments made to MSME, in effect, what we are doing is we are actually giving our whole purchase register with a lot of detail in it. So I had a client come up to me and asking me, like, in effect, I'm giving all my details to ROC, which is actually in downloadable form. So I think from where I am seeing, like, while it is a very good initiative, like, the payments are getting cleared faster, and, like, the corporates are under pressure, but in a way, it's actually going to be hitting. Do you think it's going to be hitting for MSME to get more business?
You are right. Because the intention of the government to introduce this section 43BH is that the MSME should get the benefit in reasonable time. Because I know some my assessees who are book publisher of books. They were getting the payment after 1 year. Although we know our childs are studying in the school, when they are going to purchase the books from the school, even they
Yeah.
are making the payment in advance and getting the books after that payment.
Correct.
On the other hand, the seller of the book is getting the payment after 1 year. Why it is so? So to support the MSME, government has introduced this section. On the other hand, government had introduced CGT MSME scheme also for the MSME to take the credit from the bank or NBFC. And every year they are increasing the limit. Up
Yeah.
to up to 31st March 23, this
Mhm.
credit limit was 2 crore. Up to
Right.
31st March 25, this limit is 5 crore. And from 1st of April 25, this limit has increased to 10 crore. Even for exporter, it is 20 crore. So government is supporting through bank or NBFC as well as through their own payment also. That they should, if I'm a chartered accountant in practice and I am auditing your books of account, I have did all my duties. I have handed over the signed balance sheet to you. Why you are not making my payment? Can I stop my payment to my electricity bill, my mobile bill, salary to my staff? Where? How I will survive? This is the reason that government want to support MSME sector, that they should get the time within a reasonable time, so their turnover will increase. And as we all know that this MSME sector is giving maximum employment to the people. So through this, employment generation is there. So government want that, because government also want that our economy should be the third largest economy of the world. How we will become third largest? When our GDP will be high. And how GDP will be high? When my individual turnover will be high. So through this, yes, this is the cycle.
True, sir. True. I think that's it from my side. If no other queries, I would like to proceed with vote of thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much for thank you so much for giving your insightful views on Section 43BH. One of the things which is highly misunderstood and people are not really getting in the practical world scenario, a lot of auditors, a lot of chartered accounts are not deep diving into it. I think it has really opened eyes for us, and it will really definitely help us, make our clients more compliant, or at least tell them how they should be compliant, because there's a lot of misconceptions about this particular section. And a great, I think, deep dive into it. And also the insights about the trust platform, how while complying with the system, how we can leverage trust platform to get the payments faster. And it is definitely beneficial for the MSME and also for professionals like us, because we also fall in the category where clients usually come to us after the next due date. So definitely, in fact, like I've been making sure that बाकी को disallow करो ना करो, अपना fees तो disallow करना चाहिए. That is the first thing one should do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
and we chartered accountant must mention our MSME registration number on bill, so that SHE should know. And we should also mention to them that I am registered under MSME, sir. Please take care.
yes.
Definitely. Otherwise, that mediocre firms are getting the fees in the next year. When we are going to audit for the next year, then we are getting the fees for the last year. This is not good.
So thank you, sir. I think it was a really good interactive and session, and a very detailed one. So I'd really like to thank you for your time and thank you for your research and giving us all the knowledge about the section. And would love to hear more about it whenever time permit. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Bye.